Welcome back to the Gore Guide, where we're on a journey to compile a definitive list of gore and splatter films. Today's video is a request from Alex the Book Nerd. We're going to be taking a look at Adam Chaplin, the Violent Avenger. Originally titled, Michael Bolton lookalike goes apeshit and kills everyone, but it wasn't catchy enough. Adam Chaplin is a 2011 film written and directed by Emanuele De Santi, starring Emanuele De Santi, Paolo Luciani, and Valeria Sannino. This is the first release through the Italian label Necrostorm, which is owned and operated by this director's brother, Giulio De Santi, who also plays one of the antagonist's sons in the film. Necrostorm has since become synonymous with over-the-top action splatter. They never have fully received the recognition that they deserve, but they consistently release entertaining and brutal movies. You might also recognize Emanuele De Santi from his first acting role when he played saxophone on stage in The Lost Boys. I need to stop making jokes about his appearance. He does actually look like he could pummel someone's face into mush like he does in the film. So I'm gonna stop. Now, Adam Chaplin is hailed as one of the bloodiest films ever made, but does it live up to that title? Well, let's take a look and find out. Adam Chaplin's life is torn apart when his wife is killed by local mob boss Denny. With the local police in the gangster's pocket, there is no possibility of justice. So Adam, torn apart by grief and desperate for retribution, takes matters into his own hands and makes a deal with the devil. Now possessed by more than rage, he uses his superhuman strength to pulverize anyone associated with the gang, before confronting his nemesis in the bloodiest final showdown you have ever seen. This is a massively impressive first film for such a small, totally independent production company. Looking at the end credits and seeing how many times the same names reappeared, it basically seems like a very small group of people do literally everything. Now I realize this is the case for most independent companies, but to create such a great and original looking film is a huge achievement. The obvious focal point for Adam Chaplin is the blood and gore, and wow, it's on another level. The company, who creates its own special effects, obviously, even invented a new type of fake blood. It helped produce the over-the-top blood spray to achieve the anime style that they were going for. Necrostorm uses a special technique to create their other effects where they blend CGI and practical to produce some of the most amazing looking gore. And even though Adam Chaplin is the first film from this company, it has some of the most brutal and semi-realistic kills you'll ever see. I say semi-realistic because realistic would imply that you can't tell if the effects are real or not. And while the effects in Adam Chaplin are amazing, there's never any doubt that it is just a film. I'm almost positive that there will be at least one point in the film that will make you say, holy shit. The appearance of the film is very original as well. There are elements of it that are very artistic, but it never comes across as pretentious. It has a visual flair and there are some very unique camera angles. There's a really cool concept that's used a couple of times in the film. Adam Chaplin has an upside down cross burned onto his back, which is where his demon comes from. Just before he appears, the wound sprays blood, leaving a blood splattered upside down cross on whatever surface is nearby. It doesn't make any sense, but it looks amazing, which pretty much sums up the whole film. A lot of the buildings seen in the exterior shots are obviously CGI, but it kind of fits in with the graphic novel atmosphere of the film, and the grim, rainy environment really matches the feeling of the story's impending doom. The characters all have very distinctive and unique looks. Emmanuel DeSanti, who plays Adam, has the body of a demigod and is perfect for the role of unstoppable, vengeful widower. You really sympathise with Adam's character when you realise that not only has he lost his wife, but also all of his shirts. Now he's just left with the leather jacket on his back. The makeup for Denny, the main antagonist, looks really cool. After a dog ripped his face off as a child, he spent the rest of his life wearing a hockey mask, hooked up to a regenerative serum that's mutated his body. He basically looks like a more fucked up Jason Voorhees, and he's equally as relentless. The design of the devil that literally has Adam's back is great as well. The first few times that you see him provides some quite creepy moments. One thing that takes a bit of time to get used to is the fact that most of the characters have facial prosthetics to make them look more fucked up. And for the most part it works fine, but when there are a lot of close-ups, the makeup looks pretty poor. But luckily, the fact that the effect is used so often, you get used to it pretty quickly. However, another downside of having such heavy facial prosthetics is that the actors can't talk properly. So that, mixed with the fact that it's cheaper and easier to add sound in post-production, there's a lot of bad dubbing. The film is in Italian, so most of us will be watching it with subtitles, so it's less noticeable, but the subtitles fly by so quickly that they're difficult to keep up with. Luckily, the story isn't difficult to follow, so it doesn't really matter if you miss some dialogue or not. DeSanti makes good use of what he has, but because of the low budget, some of the sets look pretty crap. The whole film looks like it was shot in, on, or around an abandoned building, which it probably was. And that wouldn't be a problem if they'd put a little bit more effort into set design. There's a weird kind of blue sheen over the exterior shots, and some of the CGI is pretty amateurish, but as long as you remember that you're basically watching a live action anime or manga, then a lot of these faults can be overlooked. I never thought I'd say this, but the face pummeling becomes a little repetitive. There are a lot of other great inventive kills in the film, and Emmanuel DeSanti seems capable of doing other action choreography. So his signature move would have been much more effective if it had been used less frequently. Again, DeSanti is perfect for this role, almost like Arnie in Terminator, just an unstoppable killing machine. But there are some scenes where he's required to act, specifically the flashback scenes with his wife, that are almost painful to watch. It's like a bad soap opera. Personally, I would have preferred if they'd have just left out the flashback scenes, because aside from the terrible acting, they're just unnecessary. We know that he lost his wife. We know that he's angry. We know he's getting revenge. We don't need to keep being reminded about it. My favourite kill is when Adam is being violently interrogated by the police inspector and he finally has enough and kicks the inspector like 50 times in the face and then punches him so hard that he explodes on the wall behind him and then just kind of slides down it like some kind of human pancake. Adam Chaplin is ridiculously over the top when it comes to blood and gore. There are moments that will surprise even the most hardened gorehound, and the blood spray from every kill is phenomenal. The mixture of practical and CGI creates some truly amazing effects, but some of the CGI, when it's on its own, looks a bit amateurish. So Adam Chaplin gets 5 out of 5 for amount of blood and 4 out of 5 for quality of effects. Adam Chaplin is a great introduction to the films of Necrostorm. Their filmmaking skills have improved greatly in their later work, but this film has an atmosphere and attitude that demands repeat viewing. It's definitely not a film for everyone. It is very violent in a very unrealistic manner, but if you like anime, manga, violent graphic novels, or really over-the-top action films, then this is definitely a movie for you. So Adam Chaplin gets 4 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Adam Chaplin, or if you have any requests for future videos. Join me next time when we'll be returning to the Wrong Turn franchise and taking a look at the brand new film, which is due to be released on VOD in just a few days. There's a link to the trailer in the description below, along with a link to my list of films on Letterboxd. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click on the bell to keep up to date with new content. Thanks for watching, and until next video, have a bloody good time.